How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking with Drew Shellenberger, who is a 22-year-old professional triathlete on the Project Podium team for the Team USA. The goal for that is to grow those athletes to be Olympic ready come 2028 or whatever year of the program they're in. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Drew Shellenberger. Giveaway alert. This episode is brought to you by Synergy Wetsuits, and today we have a giveaway from them. We are giving away the Synergy Transition Triathlon bag. So this bag is crafted using premium lightweight and durable fabrics. The Synergy Triathlon Transition bag is built to withstand the demands of rigorous training and races. The innovative wet and dry zones allow you to easily store and transport wet items without worrying about moisture damaging your dry gear. Stay organized with the customizable main compartment that can accommodate various shapes and sizes, while the adjustable front helmet pocket ensures a snug fit for your helmet. For this giveaway, if you want to enter it, follow the simple steps on our Instagram page to enter and boost your chances by sharing with friends. Giveaway will be running from May 27, that is today, to June 7. Winners will be announced on Instagram on June 7th. So make sure to go check out that bag giveaway.
I think you're gonna want to see what I'm looking at here. So this is the view off my balcony in Barbados.
You're living your best life, huh?
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
Doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, where are you right now? Just for everybody to know.
Just outside of Bridgetown, Barbados. We're actually here in a resort, but we're racing on Sunday,
Nice.
So should be good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that your first time to Barbados?
Yes, it is. I've been a lot of places in South America and the Caribbean, but this is the first time to Barbados, and so far it's been really good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So how many races do you do typically a year right now, do you think?
Anywhere between like 12 to I've raced like 18 times in a year before.
Wow. Yeah, that's a ton.
And those were all draft legal races. So
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Cool, man. Well, I'm looking forward to getting into it. First of all, just want to say thank you so much for being willing to come on and let me poke and prod at your life a little bit and hopefully get to understand a little bit of why you are who you are. But yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad I can sort of follow the footsteps of the people who have come before me. I mean, you've had some pretty big names already, so I'm glad to add to that list.
Yeah, for sure. No, super happy to have you. I think that I got connected to you through Mike Bunting. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So Mike's obviously a huge connector in our sport.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
for sure.
It continues to amaze me how many things he's kind of involved and has his hands in.
Oh,
but
yeah.
super nice guy. So I think it'll be great for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I guess the first question, I'd love to dive in just to get to know who you are a little bit more by asking the question, who is Drew?
I guess as of right now, I'm a professional triathlete who's also attending college. I'm taking classes through Arizona State University online. I just upped to being what's in essence a full-time student. So I'm taking 12 credit hours this semester. And so the reason for that shift is because I'm actually in the home stretch of graduation. I should be graduating around this time next spring. So being able to see the finish line has made me just sort of be like, all right, I need to get this done and just put my head down and work through it all. So so I'm a triathlete doing school and
Cool.
getting to live my best life at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How old are you again?
I just turned 22 in January.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so you got a whole life ahead of you for sure. I remember just like it was yesterday, turning 21. So you'll be where I am, almost 32 here before too long. But make sure to relish it for sure. But that's exciting.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions. First one, you said Arizona State, correct? And you're kind of doing that, I would assume, mostly online, so that you can kind of balance this triathlete, professional triathlete, and student role of life.
Yeah, definitely. So every class that I've taken so far has been online in college.
Okay.
So I have not even gone on to Arizona State's campus. If you asked me to take you somewhere on ASU's academic campus, I'd be just as lost as you would be. So
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm completely online, and the classes are a little bit different, but they're all pretty much the same. And so
Yeah.
I find that
What
that's
do
a
you?
really good balance between the two.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. What are you taking? Like, what's your focus of study?
So I actually just semi recently changed majors to financial planning. So
Okay.
I want to sort of help people out and manage people's finances and get
Yeah.
them out of trouble.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of friends who are older professional triathletes, but they keep asking me like, "Hey, when you get this done, like, could you take a look at like trying to figure out ways that we could sort of like minimize taxes and
Mm.
maximize your winnings?" Because I mean, obviously, as a professional triathlete, you're not getting that much money in
Yeah.
just from prize money
Yeah.
alone. So being able to maximize what you bring in would definitely sort of be my little niche, I guess,
Yeah.
in the triathlon sector.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think there's a huge need for that. So the more and more people I've connected with across the spectrum of, I guess, popularity or knowability in the sport, it seems like there really is a gap for not everyone by any means, but a lot of people kind of lack that intuitive business sense. But I guess like because you're dealing
Yeah.
with contracts, you're dealing with the sponsors, the negotiation, just contract lifecycle management in itself is like a huge thing. And then obviously, like you're talking about the taxes, you're traveling a ton. How do you maximize writing off all those expenses? I think there's a huge need for that. But just in general, yeah, it seems like the sport has a lot to grow in that area. So I think it's a pretty good pick.
Good. Well, yeah. So that kind of was egged on. Actually, I had a talk with Matt McElroy in Abu Dhabi
Okay.
last year when I thought I was going to be an accountant, and he was like, "Well, maybe you should go into like more of the finance stuff because like that would really help out triathletes." And I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
you're right. Like
Mm,
there is a big need both. I mean, both in the triathlon sector and I mean just regular average everyday beings. Just like at this point in time, we're in a time where it's really hard to make ends meet, and so just trying to maximize what you're bringing in is definitely going to be a good skill set to have, and
yeah.
also to be able to sort of teach people the way of how to do it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So with all these people that you have met over the years with doing the stuff that you've been doing in triathlon, there's obviously a lot of people who could be mentorship type of figures. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have any that you've kind of held close to in terms of mentors for looking into the future and how to navigate?
Um, I've definitely held pretty close to Dar Smith. He's 4 years older than I am, and he was one of the original Project Podium boys. So
Okay.
he and I got to know each other pretty well, and we've kept in contact over the years after he left. And so it's been good to sort of bounce ideas off him of, hey, this isn't really going right. What did you do to navigate this? Like,
Yeah.
sort of just as a young guy in the sport, it's just sort of hard to not feel like you're intruding
Hmm.
on other athletes. And so that having the ability to just sort of talk to him, but then also a more major player. I actually got hooked up with Hunter Kemper a few years ago when I did the USAT Select Camp in Colorado Springs, and
Okay.
so that when you finish your 15-year-old year and then going into your 16-year-old that year, that's like the big transition year for all the youth going into juniors. And
Yeah.
so he was one of our mentors at that camp. And so I sort of have kept in contact with him over the last few years. And that's also been another good sounding board for
Yeah.
decisions of how do I navigate these things? What would you do in this situation? How should I attack moving up to the Olympic distance after I
Hmm.
finish juniors? Like those sorts of things were good to sort of bounce off of both Dar and Hunter to get sort of the older side of the sport, like
Yeah.
the early 2000s view on the sport, as well as from Dar getting the new age technological
Yeah.
ideas. So
Yeah.
it's good to sort of have both of those sounding boards to sort of bounce ideas off of and just make better decisions, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, those are super key.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you could have any mentor in the triathlon world, who do you think? Like, this is a person that's going to
Oh,
spend an hour a week with you just solely to help you navigate life. Who do you think that would be?
I mean, I don't want to say somebody who probably everyone's going to say, which is like Jan or Sebastian Kienle or somebody who's
Sure.
like seen both sides of the sport.
I mean,
But
those are fair.
well, yeah, I actually it would probably be Ben Canute because he has seen both sides of the sport. He's been successful at both ends of the spectrum, being both short course draft legal
Yeah,
as well
both
as
distances.
70.3. I mean, second place at a 70.3 world champs doesn't get much more high level than that. So yeah, and also he's an American, so obviously I'm biased towards Americans, but yeah,
And from
probably
Arizona
Ben Canute
too,
would be
so.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about who Drew was growing up. Did you have siblings?
Yes, I've actually got an older sister. She's
Okay.
3 years older than I am.
Okay.
But I kind of just followed her around everything.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing is, I started out my sort of athletic career as a golfer.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so golfing was my first thing, and I thought I was going to be the next Tiger Woods, the whole 9 yards. But then my sister, when she got into like the middle school years, she then picked up swimming and running, and I obviously tagged along to those just because younger brother wants to be like big sis.
Yeah.
So I followed her to those things, and then we actually flip flopped. So my sister actually then became a golfer in high school and went
Oh,
on to play
really?
college golf, and then here I am with the triathlon gig. So we sort of did the switcheroo, and so yeah, I gave her golf and she gave me triathlon at this point. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Is she currently still pursuing the golf career?
no, she's actually graduated, and so she played at a small private school in Florida, and so she got her engineering license straight out of college, and she's
Okay.
now a civil engineer working in Florida. So yeah,
Okay.
she's not got any time for golf anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, we occasionally go out and
Hit a few.
hit a few balls around just to
Yeah.
have some fun. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So tell me about your parents. Are they involved in the world of sport and triathlon? Were they influences in this direction of your life?
Actually, yes. My dad grew up playing the big three: baseball, football, and basketball in high school. He
Yeah.
then went on to be the quarterback at the college where my two parents met. And my
Okay.
mom actually is I would argue, is the most successful athlete of our family, which is kind of surprising. But she was a race walker in her teens, and so she actually held I believe it was the mile and the 3,000 meter national record, and like won Pan American Games medals. Like
Wow.
she's way more decorated than I am as an athlete. So she's definitely the biggest sort of athlete in
Yeah.
our family. But she's now a physical therapist, and so she works down in Florida still, and so yeah.
For you said speed walking, correct? Or what is it
Race
called?
walking.
Race walking. So that's like
Yep.
where you're not allowed to basically leave the ground, right?
Correct.
I've seen some wild footage of that stuff. Those guys, they don't look
Yeah.
like they're going that fast, but like they're going really fast. So how
Oh,
fast
yeah.
were her like paces if you were to put it into perspective for people?
I think they were in the mid-low 6 minute range. So like, I mean, it's still relatively quick running pace,
Yeah, that's insane.
which is yeah.
Can you dispel
so-
any myths? Because I've heard some people like, oh, that can't be healthy or whatever. Is it good for the body? Do you know?
I mean, so far my mom's not had any problems with like
Yeah.
hips or joints or anything like that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, she's as of right now, she's not seen any problems with it. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I think if you're doing it like for the long run, I mean, she stopped when she was in her late teens, but I mean,
Yeah.
I figure that people that are in the Olympics doing like the marathon probably isn't
Yes.
very healthy, but
Yeah.
also running isn't healthy either, and tons of people do it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it depends on the distance, I guess. There's a lot of
yeah,
factors for sure.
yeah,
Inform 100%.
yeah, for sure.
It's super interesting. So, how did you get into triathlon then? I guess you said your sister.
Yep.
Was this something that your parents were like, "Hey, let's get you guys into it, start doing little races"? What was the story there?
Well, I kind of forgot to mention that my dad's been a triathlete for 30 plus
Okay.
years, way longer
Oh
than
wow.
I've been around. He did his first Ironman in 1995. And
Wow.
then, I mean, he went to Kona in 2014 and 2016. So, I
Okay.
mean, he's been at all different ranges of the sport.
Yeah.
His current athletic goal actually is to qualify and go to all four distances of world championships in the year. So sprint,
Wow.
Olympic, half Ironman, and Ironman. Go to
Wow.
all four of those world championships. So he pretty much already has the shorter distances locked down. It's just that he has to then go put the time or put together a race schedule where he can go do a 70.3s and two Ironmans within the
Ugh,
year. And it's
dude,
just
that's
like,
huge. Yeah.
yeah, and especially at this point, he's getting to the age where it's just like, all right, he's like, it's not that easy to recover anymore. So
Yeah.
he's definitely trying to space the races out a little bit.
Yeah. How old is your dad?
He just turned 57 actually at the beginning
Okay.
of March.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still some wicked fast dudes in those age categories for sure.
Oh yeah,
That's
and the thing
wild.
is, my dad just keeps getting faster and faster. Like
Really.
he went like I think he went 9:35 in
Wow.
his late 40s, and he's still capable of that. It's just
Yeah.
can he actually produce it, kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 Wow. That's super cool. So, where do
Yeah.
your parents stand on the spectrum of we are proud of our son with what he's doing in triathlon?
Well, my parents have always reiterated the point that they're proud of me regardless of what happens, but
Sure.
I'd like to think that they're pretty proud of what I've become, both as a man outside of sport as well
Hmm.
as an athlete, and how I carry myself at races and
Yeah.
sort of represent what I represent.
Yeah. So, how would you describe Drew outside of triathlon then, in the man that he's becoming and become?
Um, that's a really good question, actually. I
Feel
don't know
free to
how
take
I
your
would
time.
describe. Yeah, I don't know how I'd describe myself. I'd like to think that I've become pretty professional in terms of like being timely and orderly and making sure things are up to date and making sure that there is quality in whatever work I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I feel like I'm pretty laid back, and I'm not I'm not super type A where everything has to be in its certain place. But
Yeah.
I yeah, I feel like I can pretty much do just about anything if someone gives me a little guidance on how to do it. And
Yeah.
I feel like I learn pretty quickly. So pretty much anything that needs to be done, I can take care of with a little
Yeah.
guidance.
Yeah. Good answer. That's a really good answer. So because most, I take that back. Not most, but a lot of triathletes are the type A, very
Yeah.
specific. I got to do this type of thing. So for your personality, seems to be a little bit more relaxed, calm,
Yeah.
cool, and collected. I think would be a good way to say it. Do you think that
Yeah.
you obtained those character traits more by nature or more by nurture?
Um, I'd say it was a lot of nurture. I mean, both my parents are pretty laid back to begin with, but my
Okay.
parents were like, this whole triathlon thing, it's your gig. We're here to support you in any way you need, but this is your time to shine. This is all you based and you driven. So like
Yeah.
my dad was the coach that sort of put everything together in high school, and he was like, yeah, I'm just putting the pieces together. If you don't want to do something, you don't have to tell me,
Hmm.
but like we need to be open in this communication sort of thing. But he also was like, but I'm still your dad and I want the best for you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so uh like when I got my start traveling as a junior, they were kind of like, all right, you need to know how to do everything yourself, and like you should want to learn these things. And so obviously YouTube was busted out, and I started learning how to pack my bike, learning how to change a tire with CO2 or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And so like I've now become sort of the traveling mechanic with our team. So I'll have all the tools, and I have a mini pump that I travel with. So I know that there's a pump coming with us wherever we're going. I've got all of the spares that anyone might need. Like, you name it, I've pretty much got it. And so I like, that's sort of been the advice that I preach to anybody is become self-sufficient. So if no one was there to help you, you could end up figuring it out yourself.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge sort of a huge starting point for me with everything that like has been added with traveling with the team and traveling with who knows who actually will be part of the group, but making sure that I've got myself covered, and then if anyone needs something else, that I can help them in whatever they need.
Yeah. Being self-sufficient in sport is really good. I think that being self-sufficient in life, that's like a good philosophy as well. But I feel like it also comes with kind of a double-edged sword in that some ways it may be difficult to ask for help. Have you ever found that to be hard to do for yourself?
Oh yeah, I always find it difficult to ask for help. I always want to at least give my best effort to try and figure it out myself. And then when like I'm about to run my head through a wall because I can't figure it out, then I'll actually put my pride aside and ask for help. Yeah. But it definitely is difficult to ask for help, just like you mentioned.
Yeah. What do you think could make it easier to ask for help? Because I think this is something that's applicable to everyone that we could probably all get, especially dudes, get better at.
I definitely think it's really helpful to sort of look at it as, all right, I've done everything that I know how to do, and someone must just have a piece of information that I don't have in order to be able to fix this problem, or some sort of skill or something like that in order to fix the problem. And so just realizing that no one person can know everything has been really helpful, and it's been put on full display with traveling with the Project Podium guys and with Parker. Like, I mean, the things that Parker does on a daily basis to make sure everything runs smoothly, I can't even comprehend everything he does. And so like just trying to realize that there's a lot of things that he doesn't know that I do, and there's even more things that I don't know how to do that he does. And so I feel like we work pretty well to sort of make things happen in that regard.
Yeah. So who is Parker, for those who don't know?
So Parker Spencer is the coach of Project Podium. He is my current coach, and really is the only triathlon coach I've ever had. So
oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. So the only other coaches I've had are my cross country / track coach in high school and my swim coach in high school. So that's pretty much it.
So when did you pick up a bike for the very first time?
Oh, pick up a bike. Oh my.
To start riding.
I think in the 2 or 3 year old realm. I started really early. Wow. Yeah. I just wanted to be like, I mean, obviously with my sister being 3 years older, she had already learned how to ride a bike long before I came along, or right about as I came along. So I was just wanting to sort of keep up with her, and then she would go along with my dad when he would like go run, and my sister would sit in the stroller. And so obviously I wanted to then be in the stroller as well, just to sort of be with my people kind of thing. So so it was kind of, it felt like it was out of necessity, but it really wasn't. So I started riding a bike really early. So
then you were running, obviously you did cross country in high school and swimming as well. Yep. So when did you start biking as like a thing? Like, was that with triathlon the first time? Yeah, that was with triathlon. I had this weird talent of cycling, actually. It was kind of the thing that I didn't ever compete in. So it was just sort of my go-to for clearing my head as a kid. And so like I would just pick up my bike and ride out of our driveway, and who knows how long I'd be, but then I'd come back at some point. And so it was just kind of like, it was just sort of my therapy before therapy became a thing. And so it definitely has pretty much always been that way for me, and until the last few years where I've actually really needed to Put
go
some time
all
into
in
it.
with go all in with focusing on each of the three sports as like a thing that really needs to be trained. Where I got away with not actually putting that much time and effort into the bike,
Yeah.
just because of my genetics, sort
Yeah.
of as a junior.
Yeah, for sure. So then you started doing this the juniors, like you're becoming more and more competitive. When did you first realize like, oh, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I have a little bit more to offer on the elite status.
Well, so the first time that I figured out that I actually had something in sort of the draft legal side of things was when
Hmm.
I was 13. I did my first youth elite race, which is 13 to
Okay.
15-year-olds, but it's sort of alongside the USAT Junior Series. And
Okay.
so my first race in Richmond, Virginia, I ended up getting fifth as a 13-year-old. And the
Uh-huh.
only reason I got fifth was because I got run down by three guys
Mm.
in in just only on the run. Like I was second coming off the bike to my teammate Zach Wilson at the time, and so like I was like, well, heck, I haven't even like put any effort into this, and I just got fifth,
Wow.
and so I was like, well, I guess I'm in now. Like
Yeah.
I have to, or I'm just being stupid at this point. So that sort of then started the snowball effect of one thing piles on another, and next thing you know, I'm getting to travel the world to race, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's sort of become second nature at this point, just
Yeah.
getting up and training every day.
Yeah, for sure. And that's such a I think a valuable thing that I wish we could give more kids, especially at a young age, because getting to experience new cultures and
Hmm.
how people live lives, and then obviously the disciplinary factor of getting up and training and
Yeah.
having a goal, writing those goals out, just a lot
Hmm.
of the intertwined pieces of philosophy for life are really great. So how did that start to mature and affect you at a young age, you think?
Um, I definitely think it uh, made me better in school, as weird as
Oh,
it
really?
sounds. But it made
Okay.
me better at managing time and sort of
Hmm.
prioritizing things and making sure that everything was in order. Of like, all right, what needs to get done today? What needs to get done tomorrow? And so just having at least another day of outlook, not just taking each day as it comes. You have to actually plan ahead and sort of have the vision for the future. Obviously, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be detailed, but sort of know what's on the horizon to
Yeah.
then be able to plan for it and do the little incremental steps in order to achieve those things.
Yeah. Yeah, great answer for sure. So, when did you first become noticed by the Project Podium? Because Project Podium is relatively new, this program, and USAT
Yeah.
is continuing to grow. So, when did that first become like someone spotted you out or scouted you out?
I guess the answer to that would be in 2018. I actually had a really good season in 2018. I ended up winning North American championships in Sarasota, which never happens to a 16-year-old. I just found myself off the front with another guy, and we had like a minute and a half coming off the bike, which
Wow.
again never happens. And it was really just dumb luck that I found this guy's wheel, and like I literally have still to this day, I have no idea how it happened. But
Wow.
sort of dumb luck won that, and then got to go then race in Brazil and Ecuador. And then in Ecuador was a qualification race for Youth Olympic Games, which is sort of it's the Olympics, but for 16 to 19-year-olds.
Okay.
And so I got to be the sole representative from the U.S. to go
Wow.
race that race, and sort of that put racing in the Youth Olympic Games sort of put my name on the map, and that's sort of when Parker noticed me and
Yeah, reached
reached
out.
out, and one thing led to another, and suddenly I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an amazing story. So, that started to happen, like you said, you're a pretty laid back guy. So, has it ever been difficult with as you've grown in this sport and become more prominent and there's a level of expectation that maybe you started to put on yourself and that others have for you? How have you dealt with that and what's that been like?
Um, yeah, it's well, to start off, it's been really difficult because I'm also I'm hypercritical of myself.
Yeah.
Just because I'm always the first one to point out what went wrong in something that I've done. And so it's been really difficult to sort of put that to the side and sort of understand that no race can ever be perfect. In an hour-long race, there's bound to be times where you're not doing exactly what you need to be doing. I mean, it's just statistics that you physically cannot be perfect for an hour. So just sort of being laid back has sort of helped with that. But then also having those expectations collide with being laid back. And so I've been struggling the last couple of years to sort of find my rhythm on race day again and sort of just be able to be myself. And that's been I think I've definitely made progress in the last few months without racing to sort of find who I am. And I know that sounds really philosophical, but find who I am and then
I love it.
Be able to translate that on race day.
So what are you finding out about yourself?
Well, I'm finding that I just need different things than what a lot of the guys on the team need. A lot of the guys are super extroverted and they need to be with the guys in order to be relaxed and calm in order to go into the race as prepped and ready as they can be. But then I'm finding that I'm the exact opposite. I'm very introverted. I tend to I tend to follow the don't speak unless spoken to sort of outlook on things. And so, just being able to put into words that, hey guys, I'm not going to be going with you guys for this workout during race week, or hey guys, I'm going to eat dinner by myself, or finding those times where it can just be me and I can relax and just sort of unwind has been really helpful. And sort of learning the terminology of how to ask for it has really been probably the best thing that I've figured out over the last couple of years.
Yeah, even finding the bravery to say those kinds of things, because some people just don't understand, especially the extroverted people.
Yeah, definitely.
So what you mentioned earlier that you are your biggest self-critic. So my question for you is, this is kind of a vulnerable question. What is your loudest inner critical voice?
My loudest critical voice. It's probably that I'm not a runner. I never have been, nor will I ever nor have I ever claimed to be a runner. That's always been my weakest part of the triathlon is the run. And at these elite races, it's really being put on full display of how big the gap is between me and the front guys. And so it's definitely been hard to sort of mentally get over the fact that yes, I'm getting better and yes, I'm putting in all this hard work and volume and dedication to the run, but I'm still super far off. And so it's there have been a lot of times where I'm like, why do I even try to do short course and not just go to long course where I might find more success kind of thing. But definitely that's been another place where Parker, Dar, and Hunter have been really helpful in sort of keeping me level-minded and not just being like, screw this and going to something new.
Consistent.
But trying to minimize the highs and lows of things, but then also take advantage of the good days and sort of hang your hat on those.
Yeah. You got to celebrate those times that you have the wins. They're just as important, if not more important, than the mistakes. We got to look at those. To have a well-rounded approach, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
I would agree. So let me ask you this then: what would it take for you to say confidently, "I'm a runner"?
I mean, I think I'd have to end up using my run in order to either win a race or claw back time in order to pass people during a race. Because normally the highest position that I'm ever at during the race is getting off the bike. And then after that, who knows what happens.
Yeah, it falls apart.
Yeah.
or it's just people are faster?
Yeah, it's just people are faster runners, and so I would probably, in order for me to consider myself a runner, I'd have to be moving up after I get off the bike.
Yeah.
Or use it in order to win a race.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, if you win a race, you're a solid runner regardless.
Yeah. Or being on Project Podium, I would say you're a solid runner regardless.
Well, not really. I mean, yes, to a certain extent, you've got to be a solid athlete all around. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess it's a different measuring stick.
Yeah, it totally is. But for most of the people who are listening, they're thinking right now, this guy's crazy. What is he saying? He's not a runner and he's on Project Podium. That's wild. But no, I get where you're coming from. And we're always our most intense critic. But I look forward to seeing how you continue to progress because, I mean, everybody's got a strength, everybody's got a weakness, and we've got it in between. Yeah. So you wouldn't be human if you didn't. So I'd be more concerned then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Got to take advantage of the strengths and work on the weaknesses. And hopefully I can sort of work on that weakness of the run.
I'm sure you can. Yeah. When's your birthday?
January 14th.
Okay, so you just turned 23.
Just turned 22.
Oh, just turned 22. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So what do you want your life to look like when you're 30?
Oh, when I'm 30?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I still have the best job in the world, which is professional triathlete. But
okay.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how the next sort of 4 years ago until LA, which is sort of the big goal. But then if things are going well through LA, then I'll probably try and stick around for 2032, which will bring me up to my 30th birthday. So
yeah,
I'll probably end up dabbling in a little bit of long course until then, but not actually going all in on it.
Yeah.
Just because obviously, like, you only have so much time to do short course. I mean, you only have so much time to be a professional athlete, period. But the time for short courses is getting shorter and shorter by the year. And so it's definitely putting all my eggs in this short course basket right now, and then end up moving them towards a long course basket later on in life. But we'll just see how long I'm relevant kind of thing in the short course game.
For sure. Would you ever be interested in doing like a super tri race?
Absolutely. I actually just made the start list for Arena Games in London. So that's
sick, dude.
That's sort of the next up in level that I'm encountering.
When does that happen, that race?
I believe it's April 12th or something like that.
Okay, so it's just coming up. Yeah.
Well,
it'll have already happened
exactly
by the time this
away.
episode airs, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Oh man, that's so exciting. So what was it like, that process? Did someone reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
No, it actually was just getting onto that start list was just the same as like getting onto this start list here in Barbados.
Okay, nice.
Just go through the same sort of things that you would do for a world triathlon race. But then the only reason I'm actually on it already is because the only other person from the U.S. who was ranked higher than me in points that wanted to do it was Chase McQueen. So Chase and I are currently the only two Americans on it. But then hopefully the rest of the Project Podium guys will roll onto that start list here in the next few days.
Yeah, cool. I just got to spend a little time with Chase out in Arizona with him and Tyler Smith and Matt Sharp for a little bit, but super nice guys. It'll be fun to race against them or him.
So it'll be good to race with him, actually. Yeah. Hopefully racing with him. But the weird thing is that I've known Chase since I was like 11 or 12. He and I grew up like 45 minutes apart from each other. So
cool.
We were on the same like developmental team from like 13 until like I was 16, I think.
Okay.
And so we were on the same team, and so we both know each other pretty well.
Yeah, that's really neat. For this race this weekend, is he coming down to that race? Is he racing that one?
I don't believe so. I think I'm pretty sure that the Project Podium guys are pretty much the only Americans on it, other than Nick Holmes, who's coming down here. But then after that, I think it's like that's all the Americans.
Okay. How are you feeling for this weekend?
A little beat up from last weekend. Doing an Olympic in the Miami heat is always going to be tough on the body, but we're all turning around, and I did my last tune-up swim today, and it went pretty well. So hopefully we can have a little bit of a gap coming out of the water.
Yeah, for sure. How did the race go last weekend in Miami?
I really could not have asked for any better of swimming a bike, but then
really?
I really had a good first 4K ish of the run, and then the wheels sort of fell apart, and just the heat and humidity kind of got to me, and I think I overdid nutrition a little bit on the bike. I put in just over 160 grams of carbs, which I've never done before, but I figured, hey, you might as well go for it. So,
sheesh. And then you probably biked in what, 50 minutes? Like, what was your time? 45 minutes?
I think we were like 47, 48.
Okay.
For the 40K.
Yeah, that's a lot of grams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it was definitely not an easy bike ride to begin with, but then also adding in the heat and humidity, and then having to actually focus on doing what you're doing for 45, 50 minutes is taking a lot out of you. So, yeah. And then also adding on top of that, you don't get to take anything in on the water or on the swim. So just sort of trying to get in enough that you're replenishing until you hit the run as fresh as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what happened? You got in 4K, and then did you start feeling sick?
The stomach didn't feel great. I don't actually know what I was really feeling, but like I just
pain.
Obviously it was painful, but it was just not my day after the 4K. So I mean, I'm glad that I got 4K, and that's 4 more K than I got in last year. So I can't really argue with it.
Yeah, good for you, man. So what is your what is Drew's greatest source of motivation?
Actually, I've been working a lot with our team sports psych, trying to answer that question, and sort of being able to answer the question of, if I got the best out of myself, was that your best possible effort on the day? And if I can confidently say yes, then I'm fine with whatever the result is.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to want to be winning or podiuming or being as close to the top as you can. But if I understand that I've done everything that I possibly can on the day to maximize performance and be the best that I can be, then after that, the results sort of they'll end up coming. You just have to give it time. It might not happen the first or fifth time, but who knows? It might be around the corner where everything just lines right up and you end up having a really, really good day, which is how Miami went until the 4K mark of the run. But I mean, still, that's miles ahead of where I was last year. So I really am over the moon with how the year has started. Yeah.
How long have you been working with sports psychologists?
We've really been diving in the last year and a half to how each of our minds works differently, and we've been using Clifton Strengths and using that to sort of give you the words in order to describe what you need and what you're feeling and what your mind is best at. And so one of the things that we found is that I am very, very data driven. So if you can show me data that proves that I'm doing well, I'll buy into whatever it is, kind of thing.
You have that belief.
And so, my belief comes through hard data. And so that's been really helpful to understand that about myself, is that even if the numbers aren't there, you can still do well. But when the numbers are there, it's guaranteed. You've done everything you possibly can.
Yeah, belief, I think, is such a huge thing. And also something that you said previously to this question was not this exactly, but the mindset around, I think, having peace, or kind of being at peace with yourself, where you are physically and what you're able to perform and give on the day. Because Yeah, I interviewed Mark Allen a while back, and one of the things that really stuck with me that he said was that basically just being able to quiet yourself from all of the critical voices and whatever you're saying to yourself during the race and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
embrace whatever it is that you're feeling. Like, yeah, this is painful. Okay, well, let's move forward with it. Or, yeah, I'm feeling really good or whatever. Just being able to quiet and focus on that one thing,
Yeah.
it seems to be like almost I don't know, a tool, a superpower. Like to be able to do
Yeah.
that in a race, I don't think many people have that experience truly.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that we've been working on is sort of not asking how you're feeling, but what is your reaction to how you're feeling?
Hmm.
And understanding that if you can make everything either positive or neutral, that's going to do that's going to make worlds of difference for your performance, but then also for being able to cope with the bad days. Just being like, all right, that's fine. Having a bad
Yeah.
day, totally cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like,
Yeah. Giving yourself the permission to
yeah,
have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Giving yourself the permission to have those bad days, but then also, if that bad day then falls on a race day, being okay with not being okay with giving up, because obviously it's never okay to give up and give less than what is your best effort.
Yeah.
But being okay with it not being good enough to keep up with the front guys on the day.
Yeah. 100%. So let me ask you this question about identity. So you're pretty young. Usually I ask this, and I mean, 23 is good. It's a great
Yeah.
age, and I'm not saying like, oh, you're so young, but I remember when I was 23, I was still figuring out some of these questions. So I'm going to ask this,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll maybe be good for us both to review it in 7 or 8 years when you get a little bit older. But your identity up to this point in life, as you've gone through your early teen years, puberty, you're becoming a man, triathlon is like your thing, and then you have the college thing, obviously, and you're figuring out personal finance and or how to be a financial planner. These are all core pieces of your identity. But if tomorrow triathlon was to be no more, let's just say COVID happened again forever or whatever, for some
Yeah.
reason Project Podium gets shut down, you're not able to pursue this, do you think that you would be okay with the identity that you have in yourself and you'd be able to switch, or what do you think you would do?
Oh yeah. I I obviously I don't want that to happen. First and
Sure.
foremost, don't want that to happen. Want to
100%.
be a triathlete for as long as I possibly can. I'm super blessed to call triathlon my job. But I think that from the things that my parents have taught me and the things that triathlon has taught me, that I mean, I think I'm pretty much set to tackle just about anything that comes my way.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten better at dealing with dealing with adversity, I guess,
Mm.
and sort of being able to look ahead to the future and realize that, okay, this is really insignificant, even though it seems significant right now. It's completely insignificant. So,
Yeah.
sort of putting everything into perspective has, like, would definitely be a core part of that transition. But I think
Mm.
I can make it happen and end up being just fine on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Most people would not be able to say that. I think even who are much older than you. So I think that's really a good thing. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how your life plays out because that mindset you can carry through anything. Doesn't matter what you're doing. I don't think it's a really powerful way to look at life.
Yeah. Yeah. Being able to understand that I'm good enough just the way that I am, and I can I can do just about anything I put my mind to, and having that
Mm.
confidence to just be like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're gonna see if it works, and
Yeah.
going for it. And
Yeah.
I mean, half the stuff that I've done in my career this far has just been like, we're given an opportunity, we're gonna go with it and see what happens. So
Yeah.
it's been really really good for those days to work out, but then also for them to fail and learn from
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. So what is the hardest challenge you've ever had to overcome? It doesn't have to be within triathlon. It can be all of life.
Hardest challenge. Um, I don't know. Like, it's really hard to look back and be like, oh, this has been an insanely hard challenge. I've lived a really quite easy life at this point.
Yeah.
As far as like major events have been concerned,
Sure.
um, Like I haven't broken any bones. I haven't had to take time out of triathlon. Um, I I've never been put in like some major academic failures or anything like that. Like I feel like I've been pretty middle of the road so far, which is,
That's good.
I'm super blessed to be able to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that I look back on it. But yeah, my parents have always reiterated that they love me regardless of what happens between academics or athletics, and they've really been great to me so far. And I mean, obviously that's not going to change. But then,
sure,
pretty much, I've always had a support system that believes in me and believes in what I'm doing. And I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, 100%. So it really does seem, like I mean, it's not anomalous. It's definitely a good thing. And I think it's rare that people can say that about their lives because you obviously have the opportunities you do. You're athletically talented and hardworking. You have a mom and dad who love you. You have a sister who you have a good relationship with. Obviously, good friends and mentors. But statistically, you probably will go through some really hard challenge in the future. So when that day comes, how do you think that you will deal with it? Do you have a process or a mental, I don't know, checklist of things that you think you do, like if something just terrible happened? This is a very hard question if you don't know what it is.
Well, I don't know that I necessarily have anything in place at the current moment, but I think it would be a lot harder to deal with if it was in my control. If it was something that went wrong because I didn't follow through or something like that, where it was something that I'm partially to blame for. And if that were to happen, I feel like it would be really difficult for me to sort of accept it and move on and live with myself after that. And I mean, obviously that's all part of grief, but I think it would take me a lot more time. But if it weren't something that was directly related to my actions or my lack thereof, then I think it would definitely be easier for me to get past. But I mean, it would still be pretty hard for me to get over just because of the responsibility that I feel like I take for the different things that go on in my life.
Yeah. That's a really good answer. Yeah, the control aspect of it I think is huge because most people, myself included, from just going through life challenges that I have, I get into trouble when I put stake in the belief that I do have control over something that I truly didn't or do not have control over. And that's a really important lesson. I feel like you could write a book on that one for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of things that I haven't been able to control. Like, it's really insignificant, but the way that like swimming works in Indiana, getting into or not getting into the state meet, that's completely out of my control. But it felt like in the moment when I didn't make it my freshman year in the 100 breaststroke, I was like, oh, well, if I would have just done this, then it wouldn't have mattered, or something to that extent, where you're putting the blame on you. But obviously not making state is nowhere near the type of life-changing things that we're talking about here. But the same sort of principles apply, where it's like,
definitely,
you're always going to critique yourself to sort of figure out if it could have been possible. But then you just have to, there's no way around just accepting the fact that, all right, I did what I could, and there's nothing else I could have done, and it's no longer my burden to carry, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you've hinted at a number of different things that I think I could pull out to answer this question, but I'm curious to see how you would answer this. So what are Drew's deepest values, or the truths that you hold dear, as kind of, if just pretend for a second that you're, for yourself, you're a company or whatever, and you're writing down these values and these tenets that you would live by. What are those to you?
First one is responsibility. You've got to take responsibility for your own actions. And if you can't do that, then, I mean, that it's really hard to sort of find your identity if you can't take responsibility for your own actions. But then I also hold respect as a big value. Respect anybody who you're in communications with, respect what they might believe or don't believe, kind of thing. Make sure that not necessarily walking on eggshells, but make sure that you're not saying anything that's saying or doing anything that could be misconstrued and sort of taken out of context. But then also respecting people's level of authority. Like, obviously, when we were trying to set this up, everything was "Hello, Mr. Seth" or something like that, where it was obvious that I was giving you the respect you deserve as both a human being as well as a businessman running your podcast. So it's like you have to show the respect in order to expect respect. And so that it's definitely always an ongoing thing of showing respect. And then the final thing would probably be delayed gratification, which is a really weird thing. But I've always sort of valued that my time will come. Everything will fall into place at some point. And it's just waiting, doing the right things now in order to set yourself up to then be successful later has been one of the biggest things that I think has been good for me in my athletic development, first and foremost, but then also my sort of outlook for my career and potential jobs that I'll have is just sort of setting the foundation when you're young and then being able to build on it later is definitely a big part of my belief system.
Yeah, for sure. So respect, being patient. What was the second one you said? What could it be summed up to, maybe?
Taking responsibility for your own actions.
Taking responsibility, having respect, and
and then delayed gratification.
And delayed gratification. Very good. Interesting. So let me ask you just two more questions then. The first one, it's kind of a softy question.
Okay.
What makes Drew feel loved?
Oh boy.
Like, when do you feel most loved?
Well, so if you ask my mother that, she'll say that my love language is physical touch. So whenever I can get a hug or something like that from either one of my parents, it's pretty much unparalleled. I mean, the amount of sort of relief that I get when I'm like with my family and receiving that daily dose of love kind of thing is a really big one. And then I don't know, how do I feel loved?
Like, if someone ran, because I think that it's easy for some of us to receive love from our families. Not everyone, but like it's a bit more comfortable. So, but someone off the street, what could someone off the street do to you to make you feel loved?
It'd probably have to just be like, show me some form of respect, whatever that might look like, because if I notice it, I'll do my best to reciprocate it. But one of my biggest pet peeves is people who are like just eternally angry or disrespectful. And so it's like, it just, from my point of view, it just doesn't seem worth it. And so it's like, why would you be anything other than start out the day happy, and then obviously from there stuff happens outside your control that can fluctuate that. But starting out the day happy and happy and content with your life just doesn't seem like not doing that would be an option.
Yeah. Great answer, man. Good stuff. So my last question for you is, if you were to talk to your younger self, or this is going out to younger athletes who aspire to be like the great Drew Schellenberger. Is that how you say your last name, by the way?
Yes, Shellenberger.
Okay, Shellenberger. Give some advice to the younger athletes who are considering or thinking about, like, man, I wanna be like Drew. I wanna go and do these things.
I'd first start out by telling them to keep things simple. Making things too complicated too early is never a recipe for success. It might be a recipe for success in the short term, but for the long term, it won't go well. I can almost guarantee you that. But then the next thing is going to be being self-sufficient and understanding that you can control a lot of variables that a lot of other people won't see. And so thinking through every situation that could possibly happen on race day. from a flat tire to your goggles being ripped off. How are you going to react? Or like, what are some of the other things that I've had happen? Caps falling off in the swim, just random things that really are insignificant in the actual performing of the race, but then like being able to cope with that and dealing with the way that you react because you can't control that, and taking comfort in the fact that you can't control your reaction is another thing that I would suggest. And then probably the third thing is don't play your hand of cards too early. Like my mom would always say that you have your hand of cards in performance advantages. And so you don't want to go in on those too early. Like carbon shoes for running. I would say 90% of people aren't going to see any difference between a carbon shoe or their most comfortable training shoe. Yeah. It just, the speeds you'd have to be running, 90% of the population can't run that for the duration of a race. So there's no point kind of thing. Or like a high-end bike. As a 15-year-old, there's probably not much reason for that. You're going to probably outgrow it here in the next couple of years. Just wait and delay that gratification until you're closer to your final size. And so you're not spending tens of thousands of dollars on a bike that you're going to outgrow in 2 years. Yeah. It's just not worth it. And same thing with like a bike fit or running mechanics coaching or something like that. Take care of the basics first. And then once you have a solid foundation of aerobic capacity and anaerobic capacity, then sort of figure out the minute advantages or the marginal gains that you could then put on top of that would just make it that much better.
Great advices for life. Good deal. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing and giving some words to your younger self, and for being open and honest about so many different pieces of your life. Really excited for you coming up in the London Games, obviously this weekend in Barbados, and then the Arena Games and beyond, all the way to Project Podium. Hopefully get to see you standing on top of the podium in 2028 in LA. Yes. That is the dream.
That is the dream.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. And I had a wonderful time trying to answer your questions as best as I could.
You did great.
You definitely asked some questions that I haven't thought about. So time to go write those down and sort of figure out those answers.
Yeah, do it. They're great. Yeah, they're great tools for sure. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Huge shout out to Drew for coming on and sharing so much about his life and what he's been able to do and garner in just 22 years of life. Pretty amazing to hear some of the mindsets and things that he has already kind of instilled in there as a man. Really wish that I would have had some of that stuff when I was that young, but life is something that we all learn at different journeys. So just super blessed and honored to be able to be where I am in life, and I hope that you feel the same. So if you are making it to this point in the podcast, just want to say thank you so much. Really means a lot to have you listen this far. If you want to leave some comments, subscribe, review, turn on the notification bell, or any of those things, it would really help us to continue to grow this podcast. So please do that. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, you can go to the stupidquestions.show website, and you can sign up there at the top of the website. There's a link, or all the way at the bottom, you can enter your email. In the words of Drew Schellenberger, I just want to leave you with these final words. As he said, remember to keep it simple. All right, we'll see you guys next time.